It is Tuesday, and we're getting into election season, so we're doing Election Tuesday 2016. When we have new candidates, we discuss who we would vote for. We certainly have new candidates right now. On the Democratic side, we have Lincoln Chafee, former Rhode Island governor, running for president. We have Hillary Clinton. We have Martin O'Malley, former Maryland governor. And we have, of course, independent Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders. On the Republican side, we now have Ben Carson, Ted Cruz, Carly Fiorina, Lindsey Graham, Mike Huckabee, George Pataki, Rand Paul, Rick Perry, Marco Rubio, and Rick Santorum makes 10. So let's go first to the easy question, Lewis. Out of all these candidates, who would you like to see be the next president of the United States?
Still, without a doubt, I don't even have to think about it. It's Bernie Sanders.
All right. I agree. Absolutely. Bernie Sanders. Now let's go to the next question. And this is where I think things are going to get mixed up today. If you knew that it was going to be a Republican, which Republican would you rather see be president? Your last answer a couple weeks ago was Rand Paul.
I think now this came up. The George Pataki thing came up. And some people seem to think that he is a level-headed guy, but I really just, I still think nobody really knows anything about this guy. So I say it's between Rand Paul and George Pataki, but because I haven't really heard much from George Pataki yet, I think I have to stick with Rand Paul.
I am switching from Rand Paul to George Pataki. If I knew it was going to be a Republican as the next president from the current slate of 10 Republican candidates, it would be George Pataki. I looked up what his most recent positions have been, because as we know, with what happened with Jeb Bush, it can change pretty quickly. But George Pataki wants to use ground troops against ISIS. That I don't agree with. He has, as governor of New York State, he passed bills to curb greenhouse gas emissions, although he wants to see the private market do most of the climate change mitigation. He favors a pathway to legal status for undocumented immigrants already in the country. He signed a gay rights bill as governor and says that the Republican Party should really not be focusing on same-sex marriage. He would, unfortunately, want to repeal the Affordable Care Act, which is just absolutely ludicrous. And he also supports starting from scratch with the tax code, which is usually code for let's make sure the rich are paying a lower tax rate. But I have to tell you, on balance, I think that George Pataki is the most reasonable guy in terms of demeanor and positions and just overall. And I think if I knew it was going to be a Republican winning, I would vote for George Pataki.
But like you said, with Jeb Bush, things could change very quickly. And once he starts talking and doing the interviews, we'll see. He could just end up being another Jeb Bush.
All right. And from all of the candidates currently running, Lewis, who would you be most scared to see as president?
I think that would probably be, it's between Ben Carson, Rick Perry, and Santorum. If I had to pick one of those guys, I mean, Ben Carson's the craziest. Rick Perry's the most incompetent, and Santorum just seems to be the most disturbed. It's tough.
I would go with Santorum. Right now, I think I would be most freaked out by Santorum, followed by a tie between Ben Carson and Rick Perry. And then after that, maybe it'd be Huckabee after that. Although Huckabee is up there, you know, between transgender jokes and selling quack cancer cures on his email list. He's certainly a guy that's freaking me out.
I think we can all be very thankful that none of those candidates that we just mentioned have a chance.